Hello and welcome to another chapter. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a 4,450 mile stretch of road called the Highway of Tears. Sadly, it truly deserves that name. Since 1969, over 40 women have disappeared or been murdered along Canada's Highway of Tears. Nearly all cases remain unsolved. Highway 16, the road's official name, is a remote road. It traverses British Columbia, working its way past dense, thick forests, logging towns, and impoverished Indian reserves on its way to the Pacific Ocean. Numerous municipalities and 23 First Nations communities border Highway 16. The rural region is plagued with poverty and lacks public transportation, and so many residents turn to hitchhiking as their mode of transport. It began in 1969 when Gloria Moody, aged 27 and a mother of two, was last seen leaving a bar in Williams Lake on the 25th of October 1969. Her body was found the next day. In 1974, 14-year-old Monica Ignace was going home from school when she was last seen at 11 p.m. Her body was found in a gravel pit in 1975. Monica had been strangled. 31-year-old Mary Jane Hill was found nude along Highway 16 in 1978. Her killer was never found. 36-year-old Jean Mary Kovacs' nude body was found in a watery ditch. Police said she died from a .22 caliber bullet wound to her head. "24-year-old Alberta Gail Williams went missing on August 25, 1989. Her body was found a month later. She had been strangled and sexually assaulted. 15-year-old Cecilia Nichol was last seen in October 1989. She was last reported near Highway 16, never to be seen again. A year later, Cecilia's cousin, Delphine Anne Camelia Nichol, vanished on June 3, 1990. She was last seen hitchhiking along Highway 16. She also vanished without a trace. The most recent case occurred in September 2018. Jessica Patrick was last seen early August 31st, 2018. Her body was found down a deep bank on the 15th of September. Her cause of death has not been released, but police are treating it as a criminal investigation. In 1981, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police organised a conference to investigate the growing number of unsolved cases of murdered and missing women along Highway 16. Approximately 40 police detectives from British Columbia and Alberta attended the conference. Close investigation of the cases revealed a number of similarities, including reports of suspicious vehicles and the names of persons of interest. While the Highway Murders Initiative identified prime suspects in certain cases between 1981 and 2005, women continued to disappear or be found murdered along the Highway of Tears, even after this initiative began. In 2005, the British Columbia's Royal Canadian Mounted Police's Unsolved Homicide Unit created Project E-PANA to investigate other cases of murdered and missing women and girls in the area along Highway 16. This project was named, in part, after the Inuit word describing the spirit goddess that looks after souls just before they go to heaven or are reincarnated. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police use 3 criteria when reviewing the cases of missing and murdered women to determine whether they should be included in the Project E-Pana investigation. The victim was involved in a high-risk activity that would expose them to danger, such as hitchhiking or being involved in prostitution. The victim was last seen, or their body was discovered, within 1 mile of the British Columbia Highway 16. They were female. In 2012, the Project E-Pana investigation unit achieved a breakthrough in the case of 16-year-old Colleen McMillan, who disappeared in 1974. DNA evidence linked American felon Bobby Jack Fowler to her murder. The RCMP also indicated he was a strong suspect in 2 other Highway of Tears Project E-Pana cases. In December 2014, another Highway of Tears case was solved, due in part to advances in forensic science. Gary Taylor Handlin was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in a pair of cases going back nearly 40 years. Also in 2014, Canadian serial killer Cody Legebokoff was convicted in the murder of Lauren Dawn Leslie in 2010. However, 3 of his other victims were murdered not far from Highway 16. While E-Pana continues to work on unsolved cases, no new cases have been added since 2007 to the investigation. The RCMP reports that since the creation of E-Pana, it has collected 750 DNA samples, conducted 2,500 interviews, investigated 1,413 persons of interest, and administered 100 polygraphs. However, at the height of E-Pana's work, 70 people worked the investigation. Now just 8 investigators are left to work on the unsolved cases. The vast majority of these cases still remain unsolved, with many of the victims simply vanishing, never to be seen again. Some critics have argued that the lack of results arising from this investigation is the result of racism. Over half of the missing women are First Nation. Activists argue that media coverage of these cases has been limited, claiming that media assign a lesser value to Aboriginal women. Furthermore, despite the fact that these disappearances date back as far as 1969, it was not until 2005 that Project E-Pana was launched, over 30 years later. In 2016, Royal Canadian Mounted Police Staff Sergeant Wayne Clary of E-Pana said, "I've been honest with our victims' families, and I say perhaps they'll never be solved." British Columbia, it has the highest rate of unsolved murders of Indigenous women and girls in all of Canada. The national number of murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls in Canada is likely over 1,200. And as Staff Sergeant Wayne Clary said, perhaps they'll never be solved. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Mike out.